right, so in this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about two gospels, the gospel of salvation and the gospel of the kingdom. And to do that, I'll need to share with you two Bible stories. I'll start with this thief guy. There's a thief on a cross dying at the same time that Jesus was dying on the cross for salvation, for everyone to be saved, to be released from their sin and death. And that thief, who probably lived a pretty hellion-type life, all his life, was on that cross. He called out to Jesus, and he just said, "Hey, Jesus, please remember me in your kingdom." And Jesus must have sensed in the spirit or something the sincerity of his heart and said, "Yep, today you'll be with me in paradise." So the bottom line is this guy was saved, and he did nothing. And I want to just stop there for a moment to tell you that I think a lot of people listen to me as a pastor, and they think, man, you keep talking about all this law stuff. I thought that Jesus died so that we would be released from the law. No, you'd be released from sin, not from his good and righteous instruction. Well, that said, I think a lot of people think, well, do I need to be perfect the moment that I'm saved? No, that's the gospel of the kingdom. That's the formative work that God does in us over time. So you need to know that as a pastor, as a church, although it is good and right that we judge each other in the sense that we want to help each other walk on the straight and narrow, we want to help train each other in righteousness. Judgmentalism has no place in what we do. There's no condemnation for those who are in Messiah Yeshua, in Jesus Christ. Everyone is made whole. But at the same time, we want to help people learn how to walk in righteousness. Now the next story. In a book called Exodus, so in the Bible it goes Genesis, Exodus. Exodus is basically the story of God hearing the Israelites who were in captivity and bondage to Pharaoh and Pharaoh's gods and basically just oppressed. If you've ever seen The Prince of Egypt, I think a film by DreamWorks, actually a pretty good depiction. It kind of gives you the feeling of these people are oppressed and they need to be saved from that oppression. And that's what salvation means. We were oppressed by sin and death, and we were saved from that oppression. Now, the thing is, when you're saved from something, you're saved to something. So the Israelites, they did come out of Egypt, and it's great to read that story. I'll teach about it in church, but they are coming out of Egypt, and they're saved. That is the good news about salvation. Again, good news is like if you're experiencing some negative thing in life, maybe you're in debt $100,000, and then I come along and say, I'm going to wipe out that debt. Oh, that'd be good news. Well, that's what our sin is like. We have these debts of sin, these things that are making our inside rotten through and through. And if I were to say, yeah, I point that out, and I know that's uncomfortable that I point it out, but if I also give you a remedy, something that you don't do but is taken care of for you by Jesus, the Redeemer, then, I don't mind telling you about the negative thing because I've got the cure. That's salvation. And it's talked about ubiquitously in the context of the evangelical church. Here's what's not talked about is the gospel of the kingdom. All right, let's be truthful. Have you not noticed that our world is a little bit wonky? In as much as the United States, I think they did a pretty good job in many ways of laying out our laws of the land on Judeo-Christian faith, and laws based in the Torah, right? Judeo-Christian faith, that's why they call it that. And in as much as we did that, it actually ran pretty well. But we've been on a slippery slope of not doing that, and it's become a real problem, and our society isn't doing so good. But there is something that can fix all this, and that is if a people repent and will turn from their ways of following what's right in their own eyes, instead yield that to God. So back to the story. When they came out of Egypt, they went to Sinai. It was about 50 days later, and God came and met with them and said, all right, don't think that you don't have a king anymore, you do. I'm your new king. Now, here's the thing. This God, Yahweh, is benevolent, good, righteous. He is compassionate, caring, long-suffering, all the good words you can throw at it. Certainly all those things. But Yahweh says, I want to govern you, and I want to give you the gospel of the kingdom. I want you to understand who Jesus is. I want you to understand how to live righteously in a way that your household works, your marriages work, your kids work, your cities and communities and all that works. Now, it's all based in primarily a love for God, but the thing is that the law of God actually works. The gospel of the kingdom helps us walk in a way that helps us understand God, understand each other, and understand the way God made life to work. So if you don't get that on day one, like the thief on the cross, it's okay. This church is here to teach you, to help you. It isn't here to condemn you. It is here to take you from where you are to the place where you want to be. Don't you want to feel whole and good and clean and all those kinds of things? If that's who you are, if that's what you want to be, then this church might be the place for you.